Welcome back to City on a Hill Gaming, a tabletop RPG actual play podcast. Let's meet the team.
Hi, I'm Grant, and I'm the GM.
Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm playing Faramond Bahar, Human Paladin.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm playing Ansel, the Inquisitive Rogue.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I am playing Ruach, the Air Genasi Shepherd.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm playing Reepsy Piven, the Satyr Druid.
Hi, I'm William. I'm playing Myastin Zarbrax. I am a Dragonborn wizard.
We hope you enjoy our show.
I pull out a tiny rectangle made out of papyrus that has my information on it. To which I would say, this is my card. So you can look up Ansel Fane, Junior Assistant to the Executive, Agate Accounting and Inventory Control. And so I hand him a very small piece of paper.
He delicately holds out one finger that is about as big as your head, like width-wise, and just sort of lets you put it on there and pulls it back, squints at it.
Junior Assistant to the... Perhaps you understand the Ordnung better than I had expected.
I'm starting to get that feeling, yes.
And he very carefully puts this into a leather bag that he's got slung over his shoulder.
That's so great. Oh, it's going to end up in the bottom of that bag.
That's where all business cards go. You know that.
Yeah, this isn't a bag. This is essentially a fanny pack for him.
That it goes all the way to the bottom of the bag and stays there until you need a toothpick because you have a piece of chicken stuck in your teeth.
To greatly simplify, again, it kind of looks like a messenger bag made of like large hides.
Made of 3 entire cows. So this actually does bring up one more question. If you are a part of giant society, then I'm assuming that your Jarl has something to do with the Grey Giant hostels.
Ah, you have seen the signs?
We saw one, and based on
Yes, of course. You came from the south.
Yeah.
Yes, one was erected, although I believe there have been construction delays.
Yeah. According to my traveling companions, and to borrow some of the things that I heard them say after we left that particular oasis, it was an affront to nature.
They are not entirely wrong. If I had my way, of course, I would not be pursuing this course, but...
And here he just shrugs.
I do not have my way, and I have limited say in these events.
I would argue that you would have quite a bit of say. If you'll pardon me for a second, I would say that by your mere observing and indeed transport, you are at least partly, if not just as culpable as those Dragonborn. If you believe it is wrong, I think you have a moral imperative. Because there's a difference between right and wrong. If you think this is wrong, just observing is supporting.
He isn't.
He's so bold.
Faramond pipes
So,
up. He's like, I agree with Ansel's
quick thing.
assessment of this.
Real quick thing. As you're speaking, he looks genuinely unhappy, but it's the sort of unhappiness that you have on your face when this is something that you have debated a ton internally and are being reminded of, rather than like a new thing that you are being presented with.
The unhappiness you have when you realize your mom's right about something that you wanted her to be very wrong about, but you were the one that was very, very wrong.
Oh my
Well,
god.
no, it's more the like, the thing you've been wrestling with, and that you know that you're not really in a good spot either way, and you've been reminded of it.
Yeah,
It's
fair.
that sort of face.
Fair.
It is, well, there has long been a debate about whether simply standing by contributes to, is it in and of itself an action that drives historical change? But unfortunately, I have less choice than most. I have orders, and while they violate certain tenets I am loath to break, there are other bonds just as strong that tie me to Narlorloon.
As much as I sympathize with what I'm sure is a desperate predicament, I have to say that I think the difference between doing the wrong thing and doing the right thing is just applying the will to do the right thing. At some point, if you will have to take a leap of faith, it's the most logical thing for you to do, is to step out on faith and understand that that helping them must be wrong. And I think there are orders that you go by, but you can follow orders for the wrong reasons, or you can follow the wrong orders for the right reasons. But at a certain point, there's an imperative that wrong is wrong and right is right.
Perhaps. Nonetheless, these are not more than orders. They are oaths that I have sworn. If I disobey them, I am false not only to the Jarl, but to myself.
Are you magically compelled in some way?
No, I would not say so, no.
Well, that's a relief. I've never been
Gives a
particularly
very
approving of
large
that
smile
specific
at that.
practice.
Oh, were I magically bound, well, that would not be true freedom to swear an oath, would it? There I might be asking for help releasing me from my oaths forthwith. But these are oaths I have given freely.
Okay. Well, thank you for hearing us. And
Nods and sort of frowns sadly at you.
It is not a position I like to be in, or indeed to put others in. It may be best if you depart this evening as the sun goes down. The road will be safer, well, cooler to travel at night. And so far as I know, the road northward toward the crossroads is clear of obstruction and danger, or at least it was when we passed through. If you go towards the crossroads, there is a hostel there that you may rest at, and the great giant hostels are comfortable.
I appreciate the advisement, but I fear we won't be able to leave until we have settled our business here. And Ansel's just going to look up past the caravan to where the Dragonborn and everyone else is gathered.
I'm going to push our luck a little bit here. And I'm going to look at Tibor and say, why are they destroying the oases?
I do not know all the technical and arcane knowledge that's involved, but destruction is not really the correct term. More relocation? Perhaps exploitation?
They're transporting the oases somewhere?
Close. Transforming, perhaps. It is, as I understand it, these oases correspond to what what little nodes of elemental water underlie the desert. Not in the sense that there is some pure water below the desert or anything like that, but rather these are as close to the elemental plane of water as can be out here. And it is possible to take that and reconfigure that into a vessel that can be moved or transported or, say, poured out of and water sold from.
For a more profitable location.
That is my understanding.
I keep
Again,
saying
not ideal.
Are you aware that this may be having wider effects than just depriving travelers of oases?
He looks a little startled, actually.
I'm going to go ahead and
Explain.
explain like the ways that nature has gone cattywampus since we left.
the flora and fauna, venomous, random animals that weren't previously venomous, and cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
Especially aggressive cliff wasps, we've noticed. There are one of our companions has some druidic training. He has observed plants that are right next to each other growing faster and slower than they should be at this time of year.
Nature is being thrown out of balance because you're
Badly.
removing one of the pillars of nature. More or less.
Fascinating. That
Would
is concerning.
It would at least make for
I
a
had
good
seen
story.
evidence of certain changes in the desert, but I had thought that those merely were the result of the disruption of traffic and changes in the fauna around. But yes, I am not so easily distracted by the flora and fauna of the desert.
Well, that
But
was the
now that you
interesting thing
mention
for
it,
us. Most of us aren't either, but like I said, our companion is kind of specialized in that regard, and what would not have stood out to us stood out very plainly to him.
Yeah, I took notes.
and if
I
what
show
you
him my
say
notes.
is- And if what you say is true, this may have gotten worse as more and more of these elemental nodes were transfigured.
It's not the craziest
Perhaps
thing
the
I've ever heard.
changes were too subtle for my eye.
I mean, to be fair to you, you are, let's say, looking at the situation from a bit of an elevated perspective compared to those of us down closer to the ground.
Ah, that is true. I do try and take a long-term and, shall we say, bird's eye view of things.
I mean,
Still,
you
this
you
is
also have a
fascinating.
longer expected lifespan than most of us, do you not?
True. Still, it's concerning. I do not think my companions fully understand that either.
Well, maybe it's time that a conversation was had with everybody present to compare notes about what's been going on then.
Yeah, if you had to guess, since you've been
Perhaps
traveling
so.
with them for some time, which one of the three sisters, which one would be the one most amenable to hearing this news and most likely to want to work with us?
Ascara, for certain, the green one. She is the artificer responsible for the ritual, and she is the one who would feel the brunt of her responsibility for these changes most strongly if she understood them.
I see. Well, thank you.
Yeah, much appreciated, Tubor.
Of course.
We'll go
Come
talk
with
to
me.
them.
We should talk with them.
All right.
Reap, Miaston, Ruach, you see, just thankfully, just to account for the time difference here in conversation, you see them walking back sort of as this tension is building between you and Seka and Valdra, and Ascara sort of looking nervously between the two groups of you. You see Tubor striding back, Ansel and Fairmond booking it to try and keep up with him. 3 steps to his 1, pretty much.
I have so much running.
Fairmond is actually not looking that
things
winded.
Took a little while.
Sisters, we need to speak. They have something to tell you.
Fairmont, why don't you say it?
Reap, why don't you tell them about the changes to nature that we've been observing as we've been traveling here? I think that may recontextualize an impasse that perhaps has been reached.
If we want to just say you repeat all this, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, I was going to say you're testing my brain again here.
I do the talk of things.
Yes. I repeat everything that we discovered in episodes 3 and 4.
Fair. Listeners, go listen to those.
If you haven't heard episodes 3 and 4 yet, go check them out.
At cityonahillgaming.com.
There it is.
Insert flashback here.
Okay.
Ascara looks deeply concerned. Seka looks startled, honestly. Valdra kind of looks angry, but also a little resigned to, well, all right, that's what's happening, so be it. Seka, would you please go get the vessel? And Seka dips back into her tent and comes back after a minute. Meowston, can you give me a Arcana check again?
Sure.
Oh, man, you are
23.
hot. That's another 23.
Nice.
Or a 23 this time instead of a 22. You can recognize this bit of artifice. This is the sort of thing that what Seka comes back holding is essentially what looks like a silver pitcher, but there's a lot of runes inscribed around the edges, and it looks incomplete. This is the kind of thing that you would use as a base for an item that you have heard stories of once before, maybe twice before. It's the sort of thing that figures in stories of heroism. Supposedly, there's one of these at a particular inn at the crossroads that is fairly famous. This would become a decanter of endless water if properly enchanted, but this looks like something waiting to be enchanted. Ascara takes it, studies it for a minute, and then dips into her tent, a few things, and races over to the oasis, kind of pushing past you, and starts, again, sort of scratching calculations into the sand beside the oasis, this time sort of wetting the sand to keep it from running and kind of scribbling quickly. Studies something else, kind of holds it up, looks at it, puts it back, stands up, does some obvious measuring with her fingers, okay, if this were here and this were here, kind of looks out over the oasis, and that were there, and then looks off into the distance. Valdra, Seka, I think they're right. We have a problem.
Ansel, being rather good with numbers, is just going to lean over and look at the calculations and pulls out his...
These are not numbers.
Oh, they're not numbers? They're just scribbles? Okay.
This is arcane. These are arcane formulas in the purest sense.
Oh, okay.
Yastin kind of looks at him and goes, oh yeah, no problem. But
I was going to say...
this is not accounting.
Is my DM83 Pocket Abacus a arcane calculator?
You can feel it smoking as it considers these.
Oh dear. I have this if you need to double check your equations.
She looks up, glances at it, holds up the 85. The 83 doesn't have enough processing power. Goes back to her work.
Oh, good sweet. Oh, dear sweet mercy.
Oh man, and that's
the
cool transparent one.
That's the one you can play.
It's not transparent so much as hyperdimensional, but that's not important right now. I need to focus.
And it plays
Do
games.
you have Sandworm on that one?
There we go.
Oh my
He made
gosh.
the transition. I couldn't come up with one. He got it. I was trying to, because there used to be a Mega Man clone that I used to play on mine. I was trying to. Yep, there we go. He got it.
Yep. That's
For me, it was Mario and the Mario level designer. But yeah, anyway, carry on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, I
forgot
had the Geometry Racer.
Nice.
All
Good
right,
stuff. Oh man, that was a time.
Yes, it appears there might have been some complications, and our end goal, if we're all discussing end goals here, because it seems like we are all starting to recognize a central problem. Our end goal would be for someone to, what was it that Fairmont said? Right, fix it.
No.
That's
To be
going
fair,
to be-
what Fairmont said was fix it.
There was more teeth gritting than yes.
Yeah.
Ansel can't pull that off, and he knows it.
I like that. It's like Ansel looks back at notes to fix it. It says fix it right here.
I
wrote
underlined
down.
it.
It says fix it. It's in bold.
It's got the little grimace emoji next to it.
Circle too.
Colon open parentheses.
Fix it.
We have a bigger problem than fixing it, you might say. We're sort of I think we might be in a cascade state.
What?
Oh,
Ruok looks at her,
Look,
looks at other people, and waits for someone to explain.
oh, sorry. It's a little complicated. We're basically, I think a little too much has been disconnected from the elemental network in this area, and there was not enough water in here anyway, hence, desert. And this part of creation may be unraveling slightly.
Can I just ask whose idea it was to go to the desert for water?
That's where it's in the most. Sekka actually pipes up at that point. It's where there's the most demand for it. Supply and demand.
So
I'm
you
sure understand.
so you supply the water, you don't take away the water.
That depends on whether or not you're seeking a monopoly.
And this is why
dear.
I live in nature.
Yeah.
Ansel checks his
We
previous
all
notes.
live in nature.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
So, as much as I'm going to pretend I understand this, are there more of you doing this, or is it just the four of you?
We've been responsible for a couple of the oases. We have to ship them back. But, there's... Actually, hold on. Tubor, Valdra, do you know if the one past Shard Pass Trail has been completed? Yes, I think so. Yes, they said it was right after we were done. Then no, I think we're it.
Okay. How many are left? Oases that you haven't.
Sechin and Five Fangs are not.
Magic things.
There's a bunch marked on the map.
Chichin, Five Fangs, and then the one between Marwa and Sakura.
Are all that's left.
So those three. Well, on the main trade routes, the ones far away were of no real consequence, at least according to the Jarl.
You
Okay.
said shipped off to where?
To the Jarl's castle.
I have several questions. How far away is that?
It's up in the Oraskian Mountains. It's not far. Understand, I can only do part of the process. The Jarl, Do you know? You may never have heard of him. Orlun the Rhyme-Handed?
Oh,
No?
no. I mean, I've
He's
heard of the concept, but no, not him specifically.
He is a master of elemental magics, far more successful than I. He's the one who taught me what I know. And the finalizing the process to turn these into proper decanters, that's his responsibility. And once those are complete, they're then distributed to the hostels for use, along with the words that control them, and we go from there.
So let me get this straight as Ansel pulls out his ledger book in which he has taken lots of notes.
Two more approves.
He is an elemental master, so he should know better.
That checks out, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am filing a complaint with the Better Business Commissions. They are going to put an injunction on this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tie this up in so much paperwork.
I like how you like turned your head or
That was
walked
really
away.
nice.
It's not like he's like walking off ranting to himself.
I'm
Reap is
pulling
also
out
side.
I'm pulling out a separate portfolio of blank forms and I'm starting to fill stuff out.
Can you spell Rhymehammer for me for the paper, please?
In the traditional sense.
Rhyme-handed.
Handed. Thank you. Rhyme-handed.
Reap is just off in the corner and playing the angriest dulcimer you've ever heard.
Okay, do we know her name yet? Do we know Ascara?
Oh, yeah. You've got
Okay.
all three of their names. At
Okay,
this point.
Ascara, question. Can you...
Yes?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand what's happening. Can you And then he just waves his arms around. The other ones? Can you it? Whatever you did?
I cannot.
Can someone it?
The Jarl might be able to.
Put water back.
I'm not sure. As I understand it, no.
I mean, I know there's the whole. Okay, I know.
But
we
he might.
At one point,
He might know more than I.
we figured out the whole actual. I think Miastin figured out the whole actual elemental separation thing, like last session or the session before that or something. Where he figured out the whole literally something's missing thing. I'm going to be honest, Ruroc probably does not understand that at all.
That's all right. I wrote it all down.
That's good. So we already tried the whole thing where you pour water on it and it doesn't help. So he'd have to put the elemental thing back. Someone would have to put the elemental thing back.
Assuming that you could disassociate it from its bindings, yes.
Then you could put it back and then this would be fine. Okay. Theoretically.
Well, fine is a
strong word.
Yes. Obviously, there's been some disruption. It'd be sort of a patch job, and it might not be doable from this side.
What do you mean this side?
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Plains?
This side of what?
Plains? This planar side? That was half Ruach,
Yeah,
half Ryan, technically, I guess. So we'd have to go to the elemental plane of water to
not all the way.
To re-water the ground.
Not all the way. No.
There's an in between.
I think just to the border.
There's a. Ruach just kind of sits down because he's just. This is more than Ruach or Ryan can really comprehend fully. So we're just going to let someone else.
This is something that Miastin. This is something I'm sure Miastin knows. The elemental planes are. Obviously, we have a picture of a plane made of literal fire, right? Or an earth plane that is just solid earth, maybe with caverns running through it, that kind of thing. But the thing is, in order to be able to distinguish anything, there has to be other elements in those things, right? a plane of Earth with a cave running through it, obviously that's a vein of air in there, right? And the closer you are to the material plane, the more of those elements, the other elements are sort of mixing in. The material plane is sort of the meeting point of those four. They're the outer elemental planes. You get the outer planes around that. You have the inner planes, which are the elemental planes, and then the ones bordering the material plane are the plane of shadow and the Feywild. You sort of have a plane of life and a plane of not even death exactly, but like less life, gloom, that sort of thing, right? The Shadowfell and the Feywild, which
it's
make up the
if I
ethereal
may,
plane
real quick,
around it.
it's almost like a plane of vibrancy and a plane of subduedness.
Exactly. And so those sort of make up the ones right next to the material plane. And then you have the ethereal plane around it, sort of as a little bit of a border. And then you have the four elemental planes, but those have borders. Okay. As you get like deep into them, it's just like solid earth, literally solid fire, literally solid water, literally air with nothing around. But towards the borders, there are places where those meet, right? There are para-elemental planes, smaller planes sort of tucked in between them. But
like an elemental Venn
towards the
diagram.
material plane, it's blurry, essentially, right?
Like an
Towards
elemental
the
ice
material
cream
plane-
sundae.
Kinda.
Okay.
Towards if you go to the plane of air, for example, at the border, you have little earth islands and waterfalls falling through this infinite plane of air. There's things floating, but there's stuff there because it's not quite as pure.
It's the like Happy Days like 1950s Reese's commercial. It's the like, you got peanut butter on my chocolate, you got chocolate in my peanut butter.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether it be the plane of water or maybe the plane of fire, since you need to kind of push that back. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
But in theory, okay.
Yes. But regardless, if we don't do this, the Jarl will send someone else out to do it, right?
Unfortunately, I suppose.
Not after I file this injunction.
She looks at her sisters, looks at Tubor. I don't think we can continue on like this, can we? There's a moment of silence, and then there's 3 slow head shakes in response.
Yes,
I will have to
yes
think
or
of
no.
some reason to disobey.
Okay, there were no head shakes.
I will have to think of some reason to disobey the Jarl. Or perhaps
I mean, it's pulling the world
reinterpret his
apart
command.
seems like a decent reason.
So
The world has been pulled apart before.
I am reasonably familiar with rethinking orders in order to do what needs to be done. What was the exact wording that y'all said to you?
To carry the sisters where they travel, to support them, to keep them safe, and to make certain that they were not disturbed.
Okay, so if
Which admittedly has been iffy today, but it's nice.
I mean, the news is kind of
you.
disturbing, so
I would say in order to keep them safe, you would want to, and as I would say it would be very much in the spirit of the Jarl's orders to prevent the entire area from unraveling into planar chaos.
yeah, that would not only keep them safe, but you, us, everybody else in the area, perhaps even the Jarl if it spreads far enough.
And even his prophets.
And I suppose if they left for their own safety,
You would have to follow them.
yes. Mr. Ansel, I like the way you think.
Ha, that's the first time anyone said that this trip.
Pheromon gives him just like the tiniest little smile and kind of punches him gently in the shoulder. Knew you had it in you, Ansel.
I suppose we should begin packing.
Oh, yeah, we should probably break camp post-haste.
Make sure you explain when you get back what's going on in crystal clear detail.
I could not head back to the Jarl's castle, you understand. That would leave me to be given another order. But I may perhaps accompany these three sisters and good friends of mine as they head south. Perhaps explore further. That would let me keep my oath to the Jarl, and who knows, perhaps other events will be happening further south that the elders would like to hear recorded.
It is much less safe to the south, but go where you will.
Well, perhaps we can do something about that, at least.
That would be appreciated.
Yes. Here. One moment. And she ducks back into her tent again, putting some of her stuff up. You hear a clanking, another hiss of acid, and a little bit of a yelp. And she comes back out holding a large stoneware jug. Kind of looks between the five of you and then holds it out and just sort of puts it in whoever's hand is closest. Here, you should take this. It's something I made some time ago, and it's been somewhat useful for me, but I don't think we'll need it too much. I can always make another. Take this. It may help.
What is it and what does it do?
So if you say the word, and she repeats some word that is mostly in Draconic, it will produce whatever liquid you need it to. Though there's certain ratios that, it can only produce a certain amount in a day. It has to sort of charge up, you understand, from ambient elemental and energies. Anyway, it's very important that you not overtax it, but it will provide you with water or milk or honey or mead or poison if you encounter something like a desert manticore or something like that. It's been very useful. This is basically an alchemy jug.
Oh, neat.
So
those are great.
add that to your
Interesting.
inventory.
Man, we got almost an hour in before someone said desert manticore.
That's a new record, I think.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, desert manticores have been featuring very heavily in the dialogue for as little as they've been featuring in the story.
Oh, at this point, they're never actually going to show up, you realize.
Oh, we won't
course not.
fight any of them.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That would be
That would
ridiculous.
spoil everything.
Oh, it absolutely would. Tubor, for his part, reaches into his bag and says,
You have done me a greater service than you may understand, and here, take this. It may serve you well.
and Ansel, he holds out to you a cloak.
I know it seems a little inappropriate for the weather, but it will wear it at night.
Ooh, thank you very much. I will bow deeply.
No bows.
I stumble as I try to stop myself from bowing.
The cloak is like a handkerchief to Tibor.
No, if you're, he sort of looks at you.
I found it some time ago. Obviously, it does not fit me, and due to its nature, cannot really be resized. Also, I do not mind the weather and have no wish to fly. But if you wear it, it may prove useful.
Oh.
Did you say fly?
He said fly. I'm pretty sure he said
He
fly.
did say fly. Yeah, I
thought he
heard
said
that
fly.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to save time, you can identify this later. Just next stop or studying it for 5 minutes or whatever. This is a cloak of the bat.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to wear that with my high-waisted pants and large novelty hat.
Oh,
As you should.
He's gonna look. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Can I
So requires
please
attunement.
request-
Oh, what's the tourist guy from Discworld? That's the mental image
while
I'm
wearing the
getting.
cloak, so real quick, while wearing the cloak, like I said, it requires attunement. So you have to spend some time with it, and you can't just hand it off person to person. You have advantage on stealth checks. In an area of dim light or darkness, you can grip the edges of the cloak with both hands and use it to fly at a speed of 40 feet. If you ever fail to grip the cloak's edges while flying this way, or if you are no longer in dim light or darkness, you lose this flying speed. While wearing the cloak in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to cast Polymorph on yourself, transforming into a bat. You keep your Wiz and Charisma scores. The cloak can't be used this way again until the next dawn.
That's amazing.
Ansel is vengeance. Ansel is the night.
Ansel is Batman.
Or Darkwing Accountant, or
Bat
something along
Accountant.
those lines.
Yes. Darkwing Accountant seems more appropriate for Ansel. Let's get mildly unsafe.
I promise I looked this up in the DMG, finding something appropriate as a magic item to reward the party with before I remembered the existence of Bob the Vampire Accountant.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure this will only be used for serious matters and not hijinks at all.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah, 'cause
absolutely.
There's such precedence for that in this group.
Oh yeah. That's what we do, yo.
And losing a fly speed because of a searchlight is the kind of thing that can never possibly backfire.
I can't imagine
Oh,
why that would be an
no.
issue at all. No. This is
It's
totally
a good
fine.
thing we will only ever be in the desert where there's nice soft sand beneath us.
Bum, bum,
and
bum.
no
Okay.
sunlight.
Yeah, no, none at all.
Yeah, nobody's ever complained about sun in the desert. What are you talking about?
We'll just get Miostin to cast darkness on Ansel, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, and then Ansel won't be able to see, which won't interfere with his piloting at all.
No, it's fine.
George of the
Yeah.
jungle.
Watch out for that tree.
All right. The sisters and Tubor are packing up. There's a clanking of equipment from Ascara's tent, a surprising number of knives coming out of Sekka's tent, and Valdra's just got an armory, and it's all kind of going into the wagon, and Tubor's reattaching the complex harness that holds the whole wagon onto his back. They seem packing up. Y'all doing the same?
How much time do
Yeah.
we have left to travel, I guess, today? And where's the nearest place we can go after this?
It's not quite noon yet.
Oh. Okay,
Yeah.
Remember,
Can we get-
all of this happened after breakfast.
that's true.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering, was it Great Crossroads is more or less to the north? That was
Can-
our
yes.
direction
Can we go
anyway.
back to the world map?
Oh, yes, please.
You sure can.
You are here.
Yes. And one other little important bit of information that you get from Ascara and Sekka and Valdra is the location of Orlun's castle.
Oh, I see that now.
Yes.
Love it.
Okay,
Oh,
right up
that's
here.
super cool.
I like the little thingy. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, very fond of this icon set.
Yeah.
All right. So to help everyone's visual theater of the mind, it is very, very far north of us, up into the mountain ranges, past the desert. And
Yep.
as of right now,
2 hexes
there's-
away from a volcano.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
2
say,
hexes
yeah.
away from a volcano, and there's not a path leading directly to it that we are aware of. So that'll be fun.
Okay, so I have a question for the rest of the party. And this is an in and out of character thing because it would hamper our furthering the story, I suppose. Her assertion is that if they don't do this, someone else will. How do we let that not be a thing? Or are we just going to
Well-
have to let that go?
I would hazard a guess that they are trying to address what they're doing and or using stalling tactics. So they will drag out their process as long as possible
Making
But-
it even longer before someone else shows up.
before someone else would show up, so it still looks like they're doing stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we probably don't have to worry about that immediately.
No, that
Probably
would
not.
Well, and
Okay,
they were going to have to take this back to the Jarl.
before they could even... Okay,
Yeah. So there's probably
plenty
some
of more
time.
time there. Okay, fair enough.
Um actually I am gonna check my notes because technically our original path would lead us not north, but it would lead us west to the former Marwa Oasis and Sakura is our original path.
Oh,
That
if we're theoretically following your caravan, we would go more this direction.
if I'm following my caravan, but I have a complaint to file, and so the caravan can wait. If we want to head up north and check out the Grey Giant Hostel, which we know there's one in that direction,
And
Then
file
that's
the
where-
injunction there.
I mean, I could nail it to their door.
Okay.
Okay, Martin
I
Luther.
was gonna say 99 Thesis style. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
99
that-
injunction style.
that was in fact how public announcements used to be made. So
I mean, he's not wrong.
everyone went to church. That's where you put things.
That is where you, in fact, put things. Grant, Marwa
Yo.
itself, is Marwa a place or is Marwa a mountain? Looking at the map.
Marwa is a mountain.
Okay. And then it has an oasis adjacent to it. Ish.
Yes, it's closest to Marwa. Marwa is a very visible landmark, being a relatively tall and steep mountain, kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
You know, it's, goodness, it's how far away? It's like 36 miles from there to the nearest mountain in the Orastian mountain range. It's well separated from the others. It's kind of an odd monad out in the middle of the desert.
Okay.
Yeah.
And-
I just as a point of fact, I also have in my notes that there was an earthquake near there recently, and that was in correlation to rumors of volcanoes.
Oh, that was where that was. Okay, I remember the volcano thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just rumors, you know.
Yeah. Surely that means nothing.
That's totally fine. Yeah. Okay.
Also,
Yeah,
we
no
do know that
concern
that oasis
there
is
at
gone.
all.
I look at Tuber and I say, okay, when I say the word volcano, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And is it Marwa? That was not necessarily a serious question unless he just wants to answer it. I'm just,
Well,
yeah, there we go.
technically, it was a volcano out towards out in the islands that I saw some 30 years ago. I had a wonderful time there. But yes, I do recall seeing a certain light flickering around the top of Marwa now that you mention it the other night. I put it down to lightning, but well, no, it can't be. That's not a volcanic mountain.
Okay.
Is it? Looks at me, Aston.
Yet? Is that how that works? Is yet how that works? I hope not.
I none of us are geologists. I have no idea.
One of you is a geologist.
Technically.
Magical geologist, which is way
One of you is a
cooler.
magical
Actually,
geologist, yes.
actually, volcanist is still a pretty cool profession.
Is there some sort of roll I could do to scour
When
the
in
depths
doubt,
of my knowledge?
roll Arcana.
Okay.
That works.
When in doubt, roll that Arcana.
T-shirt idea.
When in doubt, roll Arcana. Okay. Fair.
I think when in doubt, roll initiative is a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Not for this group. No, not really.
No. Fight? Question mark.
Question mark? And,
Reap
okay.
was close in that last conversation.
Yeah, I was a little afraid that's where that was going.
Listen, Miaston, Marwa's never been a volcano. Its formation had nothing to do with volcanic activity. Absolute nonsense.
Ooh.
Well, they were just rumors.
And also a sighting.
So what caused the earthquake?
It's the desert, I
And the
guess.
giant
I
ball
don't
of
know.
light.
Swamp
That's an
gas.
excellent question.
UFOs. Wait, what?
Well,
Huh. I have concerns. Okay, so are we going north or are we going towards the giant not volcano?
that's also north-ish. I would go. I would say we have business at the Great Giant Hostel.
Which is near the Great
I'm
Crossroads
curious to
Oasis?
know what you intend to do about a volcano.
Look,
We get
we've got
a
a couple
giant.
weeks to plan. We'll figure something out.
We
get a
have
giant
strong
cork.
sense of responsibility. All right.
We do.
I was gonna say we get a goat, but I don't want that to happen.
No, that's not
We
going to help
just-
us any.
We just get a giant cork and a really big hammer, and we go up to the top.
Okay. We're going to need tuber for that, I feel like. But okay, I think we'll be fine. See, we have a plan already.
Oh, Tubor's heading south. I see your problem.
Yep, there
Oh,
it's
dear.
all done now. We even had a plan. Ish. Plan-ish.
All right. Well, I guess that
Plan-adjacent.
means we'll go to
All
the
right.
hostel then.
Plan past tense.
Sounds like you're heading north then.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Excellent. Let's wrap this up here, shall we?
Yeah.
They will say.
Sounds good.
Good. I hope everybody had a good session.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Definitely
Excellent.
enjoyed that one.
Glad to hear it. You guys have honestly made some very significant progress.
Excellent.
You have
Good.
stopped the people whose job was to perform the ritual that transforms the oasis into a partially complete decanter of endless water from doing that, and now you're going to go talk to their boss.
Love it.
Just
And I
Ansel
almost
kicked
started
in
a
the
fight by accident.
Yeah, and Ansel kicks in the door and goes, "Excuse me, I would like to speak with your manager."
I'd like to file a complaint, please. I have some concerns.
Yes. Yes, you are on your way to speak to the manager.
Oh no. Okay.
I love how, like, with
Complaints are
this
filed in
group,
person at
we,
the corporate offices.
Yes.
we foiled their attempt to knock us out, then confronted them with it,
Mhm.
talked them out of doing the bad thing, possibly made allies out of them, and
Sure.
not once was initiative rolled.
Nope.
I'm
I'm proud
just
of
glad
us.
that I have just been casually like I don't know how you casually read up on philosophy, but apparently I did. And so I just like came preloaded with all of this stuff. I was like, "Ooh, I've been thinking a lot about ethics lately." Bleh.
I also like that
perfect.
we went an entire session, and I don't think Peter rolled a die.
I don't think
Dece.
I did either.
Dice. Pieces.
I did not.
I think you're the only one who didn't.
I just remembered things.
Okay. Outro time.
Sure.
Outro time.
I've been talking a lot, Peter, if you would.
Yes, saving the game
Sure,
things,
Peter and
please.
Ryan.
Yeah. Grant and I are 2/3 of the Saving the Game podcast with our co-host Jenny, who is on the last season of this, but is not here because of work-related stuff. We do the other dominant type of RPG podcast, which is to say advice and analysis rather than actual play. And we do it from an explicitly Christian perspective. So there's a bit of applied theology in there. Actually, as we're sitting here tonight, the last episode that we did was about Eden. So there's, we'll explore different topics kind of through the twin lenses of gaming advice and faith, and kind of how those inform each other and can benefit, from each other and that sort of thing. You can find all of our stuff linked off of our main webpage at stgcast.org. We are Saving the Game on Facebook and Twitter. And we are on basically every major podcast platform out there, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. So we are not difficult to find. If you like Grant and me on here, or if you listened to the last season and were fortunate enough to hear Jenny's contributions, come check us out if you haven't already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please go check them out. You can find us on all of hopefully the major podcast platforms. Let me know if not. City on a Hill Gaming, us at City on a Hill Game on Twitter, cityonaHillGaming@gmail.com. Or much like them, we are also on Patreon, patreon.com/cityonaHillGaming. Special thanks as always to our Patreon backers, Joanne, Ashley, Tony, and Andrew and Christina. We really appreciate what you guys do to help support us. Thanks for listening to City on a Hill Gaming. For more information, you can find us online at cityonaHillGaming.com, email us at cityonaHillGaming@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter at CityOnAHillGame. For more information on Saving the Game, you can find Peter, Grant, and Jenny at stgcast.org or at Saving the Game on Twitter. Thanks, and have a blessed day.